Good day again. This is Professor Reznick. I want to talk now, following through Capital, Volume 1, I want to talk about money. Marx defines money as a universal equivalent. It is a commodity chosen by society to be universally equivalent to all other commodities. So it's a way to facilitate exchange. That, in other words, all the other commodities can express their value in this one particular commodity which is chosen by society to be universally equivalent to all of them. So the use value of money is precisely its exchange value. All commodities can be exchanged for it. Since the source of abstract labor, I'm sorry, let me do that. Since the source of exchange value is abstract labor, we've established that, then when one has command over money, one has command over abstract labor. Why? Because money is the representation of abstract labor. So to accumulate money is literally to accumulate abstract labor. Suppose society chooses gold. Now there's no necessity for gold because it's very arbitrary. Societies have chosen a variety of different commodities through their history. But suppose a society in fact chooses gold as money. Okay, so gold becomes the commodity chosen by society such that all the other commodities can be sold for gold. Suppose it takes 2 hours to produce an ounce of gold. Okay, so then we have, by the Marxian abstract labor theory of value, to use the same numbers that we've used before, it takes 2 hours to produce 1 ounce of gold. And now let me put everything else on the blackboard. It took, let's see, 8 hours to produce 1 apple, and it took, 4 hours to produce 1 shirt, if I remember correctly. So we have altogether 12. We've got 14 hours as the pool of abstract labor, and we've allocated across these different commodities by the production, I'm assuming, the socially necessary abstract labor time to produce each of them. Okay, so the good review for us: the value of an apple over the value of gold is 8/2. Same, again, qualitative dimensions in numerator and denominator. So that's 4 ounces of gold. G gold equaled 1 apple. That's an exchange of equivalents. That's worth 8. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. Value of a shirt over the value of gold is, what's the value of a shirt here? It's 4/2. So that's 2 ounces of gold equal a shirt. That's an exchange of equivalents. Notice something. Gold is always in the denominator. It's a common denominator. That's what a universal equivalent means. Every commodity can express its value in this universal equivalent. So it's always in the denominator. It's a common denominator. Okay. Next step. Suppose this society decides not only that gold is going to be the universal equivalent, but that, again, to facilitate exchange, it has a mint, it establishes a mint, and it prints gold coins such that 1 coin is equal to 1 ounce. Okay, so it's a beautiful, nice little coin with a picture of the king or whatever it is on the coin. Coin weighs 1 ounce. Everybody's concerned that it does weigh 1 ounce, and 1 coin is equal to 1 ounce, and it's called a dollar. Okay, so the price of an apple here becomes 4 coins. The price of a shirt becomes 2 coins. But since a coin is $1, the price of an apple is $4, 4 coins. The price of a shirt is $2, 2 gold coins. So what we have here then is another equation we can easily write. Let me get rid of this. We can ask, how much money do we need? How many dollars do we need in the society? In other words, what is the demand for money in the society? Demand for coins, demand for dollars. Well, let's write it down. We have the value of an apple over the value of gold times the amount of apples plus the value of, shirts over the value of gold times the number of shirts. So in this case we have, let's see, we have $4, just one apple, plus $2, one shirt. So the demand for money is $6. So to finance the transactions of the society, the state has to supply $6 of currency. So we have a new condition of existence of this capitalist economy, which is that the mint, I assume controlled by the state, has to supply $6 of gold coins in order to carry forward the transactions in this very simple economy of one apple and one shirt. Okay? Marx calls this money as a medium of exchange. So in other words, to carry forward the exchange in the society, the commodities are sold for money, and that money is used to purchase other commodities. Notice that there are different use values. These are not the same. CMC refers to, you start out with a use value, whatever it is, you sell it for money, you alienate it, then you use the money to buy some other commodity and you acquire its use value. So you're not selling apples to buy apples, you're selling your apple to acquire money, and then you're taking the money to purchase a different kind of commodity, a shirt. So the use values are different here. So that's called CMC. So money is here, you can see, is a medium of exchange. Marx then talks about another medium of exchange. Okay, develops this. You can see the usefulness of money here, that it is an exchange value. The next one is, once he's introduced money, he talks about MCM prime. So here is something a little bit different. A person starts with a quantum of money. What is it? It starts with a command over abstract labor, because that's what money is. It's exchange value. The source of exchange value is abstract labor. So a person has a quantum of money, which is, another way, in Marxian terms, has a command over abstract labor. Gets rid of it, gets a commodity in one way or the other, then sells the commodity for more than the amount of money that one started with. So in other words, the assumption here is, by Marx, that M prime is greater than M. So let's put it all together. You start with a quantum of value, abstract labor. You end up with a greater quantum of abstract labor. Notice the poles here are the same. Okay, this is different than CMC. Here we have the same kind of use value to begin with. The use value of money is its exchange value. We've ended up with more exchange value than we started. Okay, so a person has, in some way, which we're going to examine in a moment, that's some way, but a person has been able to expand her value. There's been a self-expansion of value, a self-expansion of money. Marx calls this self-expansion of value capital, and that's the title of his book. So capital refers to an individual who's successfully expanded her value by engaging in MCM prime. A capitalist personifies this self-expansion of value. So a successful capitalist has expanded her value, and you can now have a measure of this. That is M prime minus M over M. Where you started, M. Where you end up, M prime minus M. That's an index of how successful is the capitalist in expanding her money. Or, in the numerator, M prime minus M, we can call that the change in money. If you start with 100, you ended up with $110. This would be 10, 110 minus 10, over M, where you started, $100. So this is the rate of change, literally, of a capitalist in expanding her value. And when that's going up, the capitalist is being successful. So if I can jump, because we're going to come to it very soon. In the expansion phases of capitalism, this thing is increasing. In the contracting phases of capitalism, this will be decreasing. Okay. Now, Marx talks about different kinds of capitalists, which is the last thing I want to talk about in talking about money. There are three different kinds of capitalists that he discusses in this MCM prime. They're all engaged in MCM prime, but they differ. They're different adjectives. Let's take the first. There's some called the finance capitalists, Okay, these are individuals who do something interesting. They take a quantum of money, okay? They take a quantum of money, they give it to other people, and they get back a bigger quantity. So they're a little bit different here. They're not really buying anything to sell or producing anything to sell. What they're doing is taking a quantum of money and lending it to someone else. Okay? So they've expanded their capital. There's no question about that. If they're successful at this, this has expanded. Okay? So they've been able to expand their capital, but they're not engaged in any production of anything, as I said, or buying to resell something. Okay? So this is just an M to M prime without this middle step here. But I want to leave it on the blackboard because it encompasses these others that I want to talk about. So this is finance capital, M to M prime. Then we have merchant capital. Here, indeed, these people, they buy a commodity at a wholesale price, and they sell that commodity at a retail price, wholesale price, retail higher than the wholesale, and they also expand their money in a different way. They're merchant capitalists, buying low, selling high, buying at wholesale, selling at retail prices. Okay? The third one is where Marx is going to spend most of his time, calls it industrial capitalists. What do these people do? These people also expand their M in a different way. The industrial capitalists, I don't know if I can sneak this in here, they have a quantum of money. They go out and they buy labor power, remember? And they buy means of production, other inputs. They combine them together in production, and then they sell that for M prime, okay? So industrial capitalists take their money, buy labor power, means of production, and industrially produce something, the commodity, which they then sell for M prime. Merchant capitalists don't do that. Merchant capitalists buy low, sell high. Finance capitalists give money and get back more money in interest, repayment of the debt in interest than they started with. In all cases, if they're successful, there's a general expansion of capital. So the title of the book, Capital, refers to these, in general, these different kinds of capitalists, but you have to remember that the capitalists refer to different ways of expanding their capital. So in terms of what I told you before, the working class is a problematic concept in Marxian theory because it combines together productive and unproductive labor. The capitalist class is also a problematic concept in Marxian theory because it conflates different kinds of capitalists. There are the productive capitalists, they're productive of surplus. There are the unproductive capitalists in which there's no surplus value in the activities that they engage in. And indeed, as we're going to see, there could be conflicts within that capitalist, so-called capitalist class between finance capitalists and productive capitalists and merchant capitalists and productive capitalists, industrial capitalists, which is very trivial, and I will stop. One of the biggest capitalist entities in the entire world is Walmart. They're merchant capitalists. Well, Walmart, it buys commodities from industrial capitalists. So Walmart buys soaps and foods and computers from industrial capitalists. The industrial capitalist sells the product to Walmart at a wholesale price, and then Walmart in turn turns around and sells that commodity to you and I at a retail price. What Walmart is interested in is very much lowering its wholesale price, okay? But that's the selling price of the industrial capitalist. So as Walmart squeezes the industrial capitalist for paying it a lower price, then the industrial capitalist has a cost, which is they sell their commodities to Walmart at this, if you want, this bargain for or enforced lower price by Walmart because they're so powerful, and that squeezes the surplus value of the industrial capitalist. And as Walmart continually lowers its retail price, because that's its TV ads, it puts ever more pressure on the industrial capitalists for a lower wholesale price so that Walmart can maintain its merchant margin, profit margin. So there's a conflict here between the industrial capitalists and the merchant capitalists. So when you just say capitalists, we've got to remember that there are different kinds of capitalists deploying their capital in different ways and making money that is m prime, delta m over m, in these dramatically different ways. That's today's lecture.